Hey, you doing everyone? Greetings and welcome to episode 3 of this kind of super shooty aliens vlog, where I kind of share with you the progress I've made over the last week on this game that I'm writing for Dragon 32, 64 and also for the CoCo. So as far as we got last week, we had decided that we're going to use an SG24 screen mode, as you see here, because it will let us kind of have coloured graphics on European CoCos and dragons and all that kind of stuff, and also it doesn't look too bad. Also, I had managed to put in this kind of star field in the background, which is very flickery, but I discovered afterwards it's actually much flickerier in the videos I'm making than it is in reality, because I think my screen capture thingy is kind of making it a lot more flickery than it actually is. So there's no need for double buffering or any of that kind of stuff. Now, the thing I said I would like to do was to pretty up the graphics. To have a little spaceman here on either side of the screen when we kind of go up either side. And also to make the spaceship at the bottom here look more like a spaceship and maybe have kind of a flame coming out of the back of it or something. And over the course of the last week, I've been plugging away on this for about an hour or so each day. And I probably spent a little more time than I should have on it yesterday as well. But I have managed to kind of get to phase 3, I suppose at this stage it would be, or maybe a phase 2, I don't know. Let me show you how far I have actually gotten. This here is the one, yeah. So here we are. This is as far as I've kind of made it in the last week. We've now got a spaceship at the bottom of the screen that looks a heck of a lot more like a spaceship. And you'll notice as well that it's kind of got flashing going on here beneath the wings, and also where its thruster would be at the back. So it's kind of animated. Now this will most likely change. And, you know, it's a kind of a work in progress the whole time, but at least it looks more like a spaceship than the other one did. Again, we are moving to the left and the right. Nothing has changed there. I have sped up the bullets a little bit, and I've kind of sped up the control as well, so that we're going a little bit faster. That kind of way, just to give more kind of an action feel. And another thing I added to it was the ability to fire diagonally. Now this makes no real difference, I don't think. I said spaceman there. This makes no real difference to actual gameplay. We can fire diagonally from the bottom corners of the screen, or we can fire upwards. And I think all those bullets are going to have exactly the same kind of function. It's just, it might give maybe, I don't know, a little tactical advantage during gameplay, or I think it's just kind of a little bit of variation. So I've stuck in a little spaceman now as well. And you'll see he's mirrored on each side of the screen. And he kind of shoots as well, so he's shooting away fast as well. And you may notice that his gun here flashes as well, give the impression it's kind of a powered device that he's shooting. And one other little thing I just added to it, because it didn't really look like he was coming out of the spaceship otherwise, was that you'll notice when he's out, the cockpit here is empty, and when he's in, it's full. So we can see the top of his head when he's in, and kind of it's empty when he's out. That's more or less it. So that's what I've done. I've sped up these bullets, I've prettied up the graphics, I've put in diagonal shooting, and I've also changed the controls ever so slightly to put in a pause that's pretty much imperceptible, to be honest, so that we can slide into the corners here more easily. And it just kind of lets us stop more easily in the corners so we can do our corner shots. That's more or less it. But like I say, this for me is pretty much phase 1. I finished with control, I finished with bullets. We've got a nice little kind of starfield background, and everything is chugging along at a reasonable enough pace so far, which is good because there's not a huge amount going on. But everything is being controlled by clocks, and the game at the point it is at now could be sped up to run 20 times faster more or less than it is, or more I suppose, I don't know. But we've got plenty of cycles left to us, is what I mean. Now what I'd like to talk to you about really quick is how I've done this bullet thing. And the reason I want to do that is that I think I will be able to use exactly the same technique in order to put aliens on screen and to control them. I'll try and explain this to you as best I can. We've got 6 types of bullet, as I see it. We've got a bullet not being fired. We've got a bullet being fired straight up. And then we've got our 2 diagonal bullets. So we've got diagonal to the right and diagonal to the left. So that there is 4 types. Our 5th type is firing from the left to the right horizontally, and our 6th type is from the right to the left horizontally. So what I've done in order to map where bullets are and to control them and all that kind of stuff is I have provided a kind of a table in the program that kind of has two columns in it: bullet type and bullet location. And what happens is when we fire a bullet, the CPU will have a look where we are on screen. If we're on the bottom of the screen, we're firing straight up. So in that table, in the first column, bullet type, it'll put a type 1 bullet. That's the one that's firing straight up. And it'll put a start address. And then every time it goes through the bullet routine to kind of update where the bullet is on screen, it'll look at the bullet type, it'll look at the address, and then it'll jump with that address to whatever routine controls the bullet going up the way, going diagonal left or right or whatever, and do what needs to be done. Now the only place that changes is for these bullets that are being fired horizontally to the left or the right, because I've done the bullet types a little different. So for the 3 that fire from the bottom, we've got a bullet type 1, 2 or 3 and bullet type 0 being off. For the ones that fire horizontally to the left and the right, this one here is a bullet type that is less than 40. On the other side, it is a bullet type that is less than 80. And the reason I've done that way is I have incorporated into the bullet type, number 1, the type of bullet it is, and number 2, how long it has been in play for. And the reason I've done that is that when we fire a bullet straight up the screen, we can stop it when it gets to a screen address at the top of the screen. We can say, stop that bullet, change it back to type 0, it's inactive now. Same thing for the diagonal ones. But when we're at the sides of the screen, you see, what will happen is, because the screen addresses in the screen buffer are linear, they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it will keep carrying on from one side of the screen and back onto the other side, you know, like Pac-Man would, and keep on going and going and going unless we stop it. So what's happening is, the bullet type is less than 40. We fire our bullet and it will start with its bullet type at type number 4. And every time that the address is incremented, the bullet type is also incremented. So it'll go and look and see, oh, this one is listed as bullet type 12. That means we're firing from the left to the right, and it's already so far across the screen. It'll take the next address, it'll put it into the next byte address it needs to go to, and it'll increment that from 12 to 13. And when that bullet type gets to number 30, I think it's 34, it'll know to stop it because it's gotten to the end of the screen. So that's basically how these bullet thingies are working. But the reason I'm telling you about that is I think I should be able to implement exactly the same thing for the aliens on screen. So we can kind of have, is an alien active or is he not? He'll have his own little portion on this table with the type of alien he is and his screen address, more or less. And I could even do it in such a way that we can have like 64 values for 4 different types of aliens or something, and depending on what value it is, we can move them to the right or up or down. So we can do, an alien comes onto screen, he moves around whatever way he moves, and he goes off screen, and we could have a whole string of those going. And well, I mean, in a perfect world with a processor that could kind of have infinite cycles, we could have infinite aliens on screen, but that's not the case. And seeing as I really have very little experience of programming this kind of stuff, I don't know what the CoCo is capable of doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the same type of table as I did with bullets for aliens. I'll just keep adding aliens until it kind of starts slowing down, and then I know exactly how many I can have on screen at once. And there's one other thing I need to keep in mind, of course. And that is that bullets hitting aliens cause aliens to blow up, which means that we need to have some kind of collision detection in here as well. And I'm going to do that in the simplest possible way. I'm going to do byte by byte collision detection. We're just going to compare, is a byte where a bullet's at in the same location as a byte that makes up an alien, more or less, is, or maybe just 2 or 3 bytes that make up an alien to make it go that bit faster. And depending on that, if they occupy the same portion of screen space, that's a hit, the alien's destroyed and your points go up. Or equally, if an alien's bullet occupies your portion of screen space, that's a hit and you lose a life. So that's basically what I'm hoping to do. And what I have done is I have done the first of the little tests. That should be here, I think. Yeah, I've done the first little tests to see kind of how this would work out. So what I've done is, again, exactly the same as what you saw before. I mean, not as much flashing going on in the ship. But what I've done is I have kind of upped the amount of bullets I can put on screen. I've upped the fire rate as well. And I've slowed down the speed that the bullets kind of move at, just to see how it reacts to having loads of stuff on screen at once. And I'm hoping, well, to tell you the truth, it looks fairly good. There is no slowdown here. And like I say, I can still increment this thing like kind of 20 times the speed it's going at before, I suppose, I don't know, maybe it might start not working great at that stage. But there's still plenty of cycles left to me. And that is, that's the point. That seems to be the point to me, that this should work. So in the coming week, what I'm hoping to do is to put a couple of aliens on screen. There won't be any collision detection just yet, but just to have the aliens come onto the screen, move around a little bit and go off screen. That would be a massive achievement. And then to implement a little bit of collision detection, but I'm hoping that this table system that I was using for the bullets should work in such a way that when an alien is hit, he will be turned to zero. So if you had like a stream of 4 or 5 aliens crossing the screen and you hit one, the one you hit will disappear obviously, but the rest will carry on regardless, that kind of way. You know, there'll be the space there and they'll keep carrying on as if he were still there even though he's not, type thing. But that's the way I'm hoping that that'll work. So that's it. That's kind of an explanation of what I've done and what I've been up to. I got a couple of good, decent little comments in the last video with some counsel on a couple of videos to watch as well. Alien Marauders was a VIC-20 title that was recommended to me to have a little look at, and it's actually given me some fantastic ideas on kind of very simple gameplay that you can have fast kind of aliens moving across screen and coming down and whatnot, and gives you plenty to do, quite a challenge. And I was thinking it would be nice maybe to have a couple of levels, so before we get to the big boss mothership kind of level that I was speaking about, we could have 2 or 3 levels with various kind of aliens on screen first, and it just make it more of a kind of a game. But that's as far as I have gotten. As I say, in the coming week I'm hoping to stick a few aliens on screen. And until then, take good care of yourselves, and we will talk to you very soon. See ya. Bye bye.